Hello, this is Russell from
Tones of Evil.
and you're listening to Capes and Lunatics.
Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend DG Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started. Hello, dear friends and neighbors. Oh, when are you listening to this? Is this just before the new year? Is this just in the sudden thrust of 2022? I don't know. All I know is that we're recording it at this time. Just after Nowhere Home has premiered, and we will not be discussing that tonight because we're recording that tomorrow.
Ultimate Spider-Cast.
Ultimate Spider-Cast. Scroll. I'm going to say diagonally. Scroll diagonally.
Well, it'll hit the podcast before this, so yeah, kids, scroll down.
Okay. Scroll down. So it's going to be there, and you'll enjoy it. Hey, I am Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber of the Burger Fits,
Phil, podcast Perich.
That's my man, the podcaster. He is, because he is podcasting. That's all I have to say, and I embrace all that Phil is. Let's talk. Let's talk because it just dropped. Although as all things go, let's talk. The penultimate. Take a drink. Penultimate episode of Hawkeye, because that is relatively fresh in our minds right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it like 6 times already because. See, that's the good thing about streaming. Is like, oh, wow, I can really nerd out now. Mm-hmm. Especially when it's a 30 to 40-minute piece.
Oh, yeah, you can rewatch as many times as you want. You can pause it. You can rewind. It's, yeah.
Oh, and I have, man, like zoom in and enhance. Turn on closed captioning. What was that? Oh, my gosh. This is, and I don't want to, actually, did Maz and I talk about this yet?
No, episode 5. No, you did 4, not 5.
No, we did episode 4. Man, yeah, it's like but this is a really good episode.
Oh yeah, from the beginning, right from the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, and man, I'm just saying they have got to pay off Jock. Like Jock has got to have the biggest payoff in this whole thing.
Or I don't know if he's probably in cahoots, but I don't think he's the mastermind. He might be engaged to the mastermind, I
actually think he's just, here's what I'm going to say, nobody plays a fool that well. Although that's always what they'd say about Maxwell Smart. So, it's like one of these things. Is he just Barney Fifing his way through the criminal underworld?
I mean, it might just be the hired muscle,
I don't know. That's the thing. I mean, it is really, really getting intense over there.
Or he might even flip the script and be like, he's like, oh no, I've been undercover the whole time. I was sent in to help bring down Eleanor or whatever.
That's the thing. I don't think here's the thing. I think he knows Clint. I think that everything about their interactions tells me, and like what we know from the comics, is that there's a relationship there. Mm-hmm. And maybe they're merging that trick shot, like the original trick shot character, the fat guy, and the swordsman character, and just, sort of making him seem like a buffoon, but really he's actually insanely competent. Mm-hmm. Because again, like I said, he knows his sword got stolen. Because he'd have to be an idiot not to know his sword got stolen.
Mm-hmm.
and that it was specifically stolen by Hawkeye because who else would have stolen it? You know, it's he leaves it there. You know, that is what is the thing.
Again, maybe he wanted him to steal. Maybe there was a tracer or something on there. You know, so they know exactly where he's at.
I mean, that's one possibility, but also then, you know, I get the feeling that it was I know you, you know me. Here's your sword back, man. I actually was bidding on it because I knew it was your sword. I was going to give it back to you, dude. You know, I may be a lovable buffoon, but the fact of the matter is that, you know, I want to take care. You know, I'm not going to intentionally screw you over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we're pretty clear it's Laura's watch at this point, right?
I guess.
I think there's still some ambiguity to it. But, you know, it does seem like, you know.
But wasn't it something like the watches, you know, it could. I mean, unless Clint was just telling Kate that story, it's like, oh, you know, could. Something about, you know, someone's cover could be blown, but. I mean, unless he just doesn't want it leading back to his family. Or, again, Laura, maybe she was an active S.H.I.E.L.D. agent or something in the past.
But, you know, and again, it's this weird thing to me. Like, why are they keeping these things? It's like, wow, these are really incriminating bits of evidence. Let's put them somewhere. Let's not burn them. Let's not smash them into a million pieces.
Yeah, but I wonder what's in that watch that's so incriminating, though. I mean...
Well, that's the thing. That's what's weird about it. It's like there has to be more to it. And I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that the last episode's going to be really everything that we hope it will be. But you know, as it is, it's like it's a little. I don't want to say. This is not underwhelming in any considerable way. It's very whelming. I'm fully whelmed. But, you know, you're waiting for that big reveal or that big twist. And, you know, as we're getting to it, I don't know if we're going to get more than we've gotten, you know, which is fair, you know. You know, we might get an end credit scene, we might get something, but, you know, I don't think we're going to get anything as world-shattering as just the Kingpin showing up, you know.
Yeah, although I'm looking this up now because I didn't see the exact number before, but I think they said that the final episode 6 is going to be the longest Disney Plus episode they've had so far. So
yeah, it's probably going to be like probably a 90-minute show. You know, I would not be surprised.
Maybe
you know, maybe an hour, or maybe 9. You know, but
oh no, it's saying 59 minutes.
Oh, okay. So a little under an hour. I wonder if that includes the end credit scene.
Yeah, I wonder.
Because you know there will be one. Everyone still tries to get up for no particular reason. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Oh, what about that? What about the beginning? We see Elena in 2018. She got blipped.
Oh yeah, she got blipped, and that was weird because it is also. You know, even more than I think Monica, you got... Because, see, Monica Rambeau blipped in a scene, you know, where she comes back, because she's walking down the house, and she comes back, and it's just a hall full of people. But, you know, and people are just showing up around her. This was the one time where we got, like, a quiet return scene.
Yeah, well, Monica, too, didn't she? She fell asleep when she got blipped, so, I mean, for all she knew, she just fell asleep.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, and in this case, it's what was really telling is that the entire room changed.
Oh yeah, because it was painted. Yeah.
Yeah, and that what is neat about that is that it's like she comes to, and her brain has to adjust to the fact that the world has changed. Yeah, so her brain still knows.
It almost looks like the walls like getting painted at like super speed. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, and they all crack and just fade away because it's like, her brain justify the existence of these two superimposed images of they're coming in, but this is what the world looks like, and it's really interesting how they handled that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean it comes along really nicely, and also I like the fact that we also see you don't even like this. The dust never dissipates.
Yeah.
It's like she turns. There's no.
It's just like
there's no point without the dust. It's like
Yeah.
it's not no dust. It's like no, they were there the whole time.
Well, I don't know.
Like
if
for them,
that's supposed to be like her perspective too, or it's just like
well, exactly.
What was
It's
that?
all her perspective.
yeah.
So from their perspective, there is no dwelling. There is non-existence and existence, and even the non-existence is not even non-existent. It's almost like a butterfly in the pupa stage, chrysalis stage, where they have faded out, but then there's no, and that is sort of where this whole idea is, in my opinion, to me, and it's really powerful when you think about it. When you think about the entire end for people, both of that, and that is the thing. It's like, we've had a little bit about people who are blipped and people who have come back, but I mean, so as an example, we've had people who've blipped come back and sort of dealing with the world as it is. We've had people who have had people blipped, but I don't know if the weight of it has come in until just recently. And there's a thing in Spider-Man, which we're not going to talk about, but that really kind of emphasizes that idea that this wasn't a joke to a lot of us. And I think the urge is to say it's a joke. Something a bit more than all of that. And to me, this is the first time I think it was really brought home for Yelena, is just this idea that, 5 minutes, you're telling me that in a second, 5 years have passed. And then the most heartbreaking scene in that is, I have to find Natasha.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, because if you think about it, even the assassin that she's talking to doesn't know what has happened to Natasha.
Yeah.
No one knows that yet. No one knows that she was one of the ones who lost their lives in fighting Thanos.
And I mean, and that makes that final Black Widow scene even more like poignant, because not only was she sacrificing herself to bring back Clint's whole family, she was doing it to bring back her sister too.
Yeah. Oh, and she knows that.
Mm-hmm.
That is really powerful when you think about it. And I hadn't even thought about that until just now. Is that she knew her sister got blipped?
I'm sure that's one of the first people she went looking for. It's like, is my sister still around?
Exactly. And when and that's sort of that interesting thing, when Clint is like, I'm going to sacrifice myself, I have to bring my family back. And Natasha's like, no, man, I got to bring my family back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, that is hardcore when you think about it. It's just the idea of those two people, each who have lost someone they love much.
Well, and it's like,
and
I mean, as we see, Clint doesn't know her sister, but it's like she knows all of them. She knows Clint's family. She knows her sister. So she's like, yeah, I'm going to do it for all of them.
Yeah, well, Clint knows of her sister. He doesn't know. Yeah, he doesn't know who her sister is. He would know her because, of course, for what it's worth, Natasha only knew her sister in the sense that it's, which is also its own sadness. It's like she, and that I think is the hardest part of it. And I wonder if she shared with Clint that her sister got blipped.
Maybe.
That, I don't know, because that, I mean, it totally recontextualizes the entire Black Widow on Vormir scene. That she had this person that she really had to bring back, and there was only one way. And in its own way, it's kind of the trolley problem. The idea of the trolley problem you're familiar with the trolley problem, the idea that, you can either kill, that it's going to kill 3 people, but if you can switch the track, it'll only kill 1 person. But there's no way to stop it. And in this situation, Natasha's faced with the trolley problem. And of course, the answer to the trolley problem, the actual moral answer is you sacrifice yourself.
Yeah.
You jump in front of the tracks, you stop the trolley, and everyone else gets to live, because that's the only moral choice, is to sacrifice yourself for others.
Yeah.
Because any other choice to sacrifice someone else for others is not inherently moral. Now, of course, you get to that point where, well, what if you can't? But yeah, but this is a point where you literally could. You literally could. Now, it could have been funny if the Red Skull said, no, you can't just kill yourself. You have to sacrifice something.
Yeah.
So either, and for what it's worth, that is exactly what happened. Because Hawkeye had to fight to save her. So that when she broke free, it was him letting go. It was him not finding a way to save her one last time, And that was his sacrifice. So it was his sacrifice. And maybe it was a situation where Natasha knew that, quite frankly, she was not moral enough to just let Clint kill himself. She was not moral enough to throw Clint off to save her sister and not have it feel like she let him die,
Or she knew it wouldn't work if he died, because maybe he wasn't the closest person to her, but with his family dead, she was the closest person to him, so he was sacrificing.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of ways you can do it. Honestly, there will be entire treatises written by moral philosophers about that scene on Vormir. Honestly, to me, the Vormir scene is the most brilliant encapsulation of the trolley problem you're ever going to find. And especially when you take into all this backstory. Because, of course, that's what's missing from the trolley problem, is any backstory. We don't know who these people are. We don't know what our options are. We don't really know. We're just being told, kind of in a literal supervillain fashion, you must choose between these things, and what is the moral choice? I always make that point that a guy like Captain America always wants to find that third way. A guy like Captain Kirk says it's an unfair test because that doesn't exist. But the fact of the matter is, it is the Red Skull. It is the Infinity Stone. This is just reality now, man. We don't care about you. We want you to make this moral, difficult choice. You have to make a moral, difficult choice to get this access, to plead your case to the Stones. Because let's face it, you're still pleading your case to the Stones that they're going to execute your wish as you wish. And that's the thing, because they're Stones doesn't mean they don't have a sense of whimsy. And like any great djinn, just because you made the wish doesn't mean it's going to execute your wish in the way you want. And so in this case, we have the Stones, and the Stones making already this moral question, this moral judgment of you. Will you sacrifice that thing for this power, and will it be worth it?
That Red Skull, man, he wanted that ultimate power, and what happened? And he just ended up like the world's most cosmic pawn shop owner.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's what it is. It's, and that's also one of those things. I do wonder if you were to go to Vormir now, if you would meet Natasha.
Ew.
It's like that once someone is sacrificed. Well, I guess in that Marvel Universe continuity, you would actually meet Gamora. Oh, that would be a fascinating concept for Guardians 3, because she knows where the stone is.
Yeah.
So she might go there, and then she's going to meet her MCU self is like, what are you doing here? It's like, I sacrificed myself. What are you doing here?
Yeah, but is it?
I'm from an alternate timeline.
Is it always a person who sacrifices themselves for that stone, or is it just because the Red Skull messed around with that cube, man? He's just locked there for eternity.
Yeah, I mean that's the question. It's like, is it? Well, I guess the implication is that he had nothing that he could sacrifice. He had nothing worth. He had nothing that he loved more.
Himself, his freedom, so it locked him on Vormir.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's interesting, the questions, honestly, and you never know. Maybe they're going to get a loophole to get him back. Hey, Arnim Zola exists in this universe.
Hey,
and he has brought back the Red Skull before.
I know. I was gonna say, go comics, man. All you gotta do is clone him a body, because all these great supervillains always have backups of their brains somewhere.
Yeah, well, Arnim did. He had 2 at least. We know there's a Russian Arnim Zola, and we're just waiting for that guy to show up again. That's that. And I fully feel we're going to get Arnim Zola back in Phase 5 or 6 or whatever we're in now. But yeah. Anyway, that's Hawkeye and everything else in the Marvel Universe. You want to talk a couple of comics, Phil?
Sure. I mean, we didn't even mention the big thing from Hawkeye.
Oh, yeah. Kingpin's in it, yeah.
Kingpin at the end, the blurry picture. I'm assuming they're not going to have D'Onofrio on this series. That's why they just went with the blurry picture.
No, I expect he'll have a full scene next
you episode. Think so?
You don't pay for D'Onofrio, because they did give him a credit. You don't pay for D'Onofrio without using D'Onofrio.
Yeah, but I didn't know if maybe they were just are we just going to pay him for one episode? No, let's just save him for, when we do
I'll
Daredevil
go you one further.
Something.
I'll bet you we get Daredevil next episode, too.
Oh, maybe. Maybe.
We might even get Jessica Jones.
Maybe.
We might even get another lawyer.
Oh.
Not to say who advised people to get other lawyers, but, I was waiting for is that something we're going to get in this? It's like, is that the other lawyer that was recommended for the outside counsel? Maybe. Anyway, yeah, I definitely think we're going to get D'Onofrio next on the Ultimate episode. And it'll be exciting. That's all I can say. One thing I am going to say is I liked my variant Hulk, although I'm a little disappointed. Because I thought that was Joe Fixit, but I guess it's supposed to be like Kingpin Hulk.
Oh, jeez.
Because it's like the villain's reign.
Oh, it was supposed to be Joe or something.
Well, I thought it was supposed to be Joe.
Huh.
But I guess it's... But as I'm reading it, it's... Like, as I'm looking at it, it's like, oh, no, that's just supposed to be Kingpin Hulk. Like, if Hulk were the Kingpin. Which I guess you could argue is Joe, but... Yeah. I don't know. I just like the idea of... Because Joe has been green before,
Yeah. But yeah, regular cover's just his face. Yeah.
Yeah, this was weird.
Oh, yeah. Hulk number 2, yeah.
Well, yeah, we got the whole... what do we call these people? We call this the... And I'm sorry, did they have to make that guy look like General Ross with long hair?
Hey, man, gotta give him some reason to go right through. Yeah, the alternate universe timeline hazard operations response and intervention team.
Which I don't even think makes a word. And then they just totally nerf them for no particular reason.
Oh, you know what it spells? Authority.
Oh yeah. See, if I knew how to spell, that would work.
Like DC, the authority.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just felt that was like they just nerf them for no reason. Yeah, I don't know. I always hate when they do that.
Hulk just literally goes through them.
Yeah, but then no, he's caught in the gamma web of something or another, and
because Banner was literally sleeping at the wheel.
Which, again, how does that even work? How can you be asleep in your own head as some kids? Like, then why isn't the...
I mean, I guess if the Hulk's locked away, if Banner's sleeping, there's no conscious mind driving him. Is that what the helmet's for? Just to direct him while he's sleeping?
I honestly have no freaking idea, but it just... None of it makes that much sense. This is It is very trippy, man, is what I'll say.
And most of this is just like, how can I torment the Hulk? Because I need more anger.
Yeah, which kind of sounds like, dude, I think you kind of need to talk to, like, a person about this stuff, because none of this is healthy. Whatever this is, it's not healthy.
Or, I mean, has have the events of Immortal Hulk just driven him insane or something?
Well, it wasn't that far to go.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it wasn't that much of a trip. So, but yeah, maybe, I mean, going to hell and stuff. Maybe that's just...
Giant-sized Wolverine, Phil.
Oh, I know.
And he's classic style, you see. He's got the original...
Yep.
The original small mask. Gods. It is...
I mean, come on. You don't think Banner's crazy? He's like talking to Betty in his head. Come on.
No, he's totally gone the way of the dodo, my friend. He is out there hammering, and then what do you think about our big villain reveal, Phil?
Oh, yeah, he gets kind of brought in by, I guess, another universe's Dr. Bruce Banner.
My name is Dr. Bruce Banner. Oh my goodness, I've never met an intelligent one before.
Oh my.
Dear lords. So, like, right now, there are some beloved characters doing... I'm not sure if I'm on board with what they're doing, It's like, I'm sticking by it, because it's like, it's just crazy enough to work, Phil.
I mean,
that's the problem.
I'm waiting to see, because sometimes they'll throw you a twist a couple issues in where you're just like, okay, we didn't have all this information. Now I have all the information, but I don't know if it's just we don't have all the information yet, or like sometimes people just want to reinvent the wheel too. So I don't know if it's a case of that.
We have wheels, Phil. That's the thing.
Yeah, but they want to make them fancier and shinier, Charlie. They want to make them faster.
That's why we have rims.
I know.
You just put a nice new rim on it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just buy better rims.
Look at that. Look at that old. Sometimes they're like, look at that old wheel, Charlie. Yes, we want to make a nice, shiny, new, modern one.
Yeah. Did you read Thing 2?
Yes, I did.
It's not a bad story.
Oh, right. He's very particular about his Ben Grimm kids.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I am literally just here because, you know what? It's a Ben Grimm book. I gotta buy a Ben Grimm book. They gotta see the dollars are there. I respect the character. I have no idea what you're doing. And honestly, there's like parts of it that just really start to get weird to me and a little problematic. I don't know. It's just stuff about it. The whole brusque stealing Amaryllis du jour, which I believe literally translates to the yellow of the day. I don't know. It's a very weird name.
Yeah, the whole thing just seems weird. It's like, I guess we're going to get back to that intergalactic dating thing we saw in the first issue. I don't know.
I imagine so, but we also have the not the Morlocks, but they're also... I don't know. See, here's the thing. I wonder if this kid knows way more than he's saying.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking he's...
Is this like a little enfant terrible alien? Oh, no, I'm just omnipotent and messing with you for fun.
I mean, at the end, that second guy just drops dead, so maybe it's the kid. And again, I had a problem at the end where Ben Grimm just seems like kind of like, oh, 2 people died. Oh, well, maybe that's the kid, though. Maybe that's the kid messing with his head. If that's the case,
well,
okay.
And as an example, we saw at the start of this that, Brusque gets visited by the ghost head monster.
Yeah.
And that's when he becomes Brusque. And likewise, we saw that happened to Ben Grimm just before he met Amaryllis.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, is this all already out of continuity? But, and also in this situation, the kid throws him a rag and it becomes like a little gauntlet that happens to fit his mitts. Also happens to have only 3 fingers. Yeah. And then the whole heart popping out of his chest, which makes me wonder if that's what this monster is planning for poor Ben Grimm. that at the end of this, his heart will pop out of his chest and he will feed because he is the weird monster guy. Yeah, so it's weird, it's crazy. Not giving up on it yet, though, because it is just interesting enough, but it does feel like a story outside of reality.
Yeah.
Do you have a book you want to talk about, Phil?
I know you read Savage Avengers 27.
Oh, of course. Of course I read Savage Avengers number 27. It was savage. And it's not the last book.
No, I think there's at least one more, but yeah.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, man, it's an interesting take because it is literally just, yes, the grand villain is defeated.
Mm-hmm.
With the help of Shimaggorath. And it's just like, well, what if I decide not to leave? It's like, yeah, dude, just do what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they all go to Doom's house for dinner, which I think is great. Doom is a great host, as they say.
Well, because first Doctor Strange is going to take everyone out to eat, and then Conan's like, "No, we died in Doom's hall. He's the only one among us that eats like kings should."
Yeah, and he just basically means like roast beast. You know, it's like, dude, have you even had foie gras? Do you even know what flavor is, Conan?
Have you tried that Latvian roast beef? Come on.
Yeah, but you know, Conan, he's a caveman, basically. He likes, I want a big piece of meat and then something that has an insane amount of calories in it. You know?
Yeah, but I mean, he's been in the 21st century long enough. Maybe he's just like, well, you know, Doom's junk food tastes better than the rest of yours junk food.
Yeah. Although I do like, you know, basically Conan berating Kang and Doom for like, can't you people just stop scheming for 5 minutes and have a feast? What is wrong with you people? You know? When was the last time any of you all idiots feasted? I do... Oh, by the way, I finished Hawkeye Wastelanders. Big... I have to say, you really need to listen to this podcast on Stitcher. It's there. They give you a nice ad, nice artwork for it. But it is really good. But yeah, we get they go back in time to, and this is, I love this because this is, again, speaking about moral philosophy, this is the Hitler paradox re-understood. They're going to go back in time to kill Hitler, and Conan's like, no, I'm not going to kill Hitler. I'm going to kill the guy that made Hitler an asshole. Oh, sorry. I'm the guy who's going to kill the guy who made Hitler a jerk.
Yes.
And then I'm going to talk to Hitler and try to explain to him, don't be like that guy. Be a better person. I'll teach you to be a barbarian, and then you can kill whoever you want and feel very strong and powerful, and no one's going to be mad at you. But don't mess with the magic, because that's bad stuff.
So is Conan going to alter history, or is Kang just sitting there going, you're just creating an alternate timeline?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, basically, you know, Kang's saying, you know, you're just delaying the inevitable. It's like, that's fine. I'm just not going to do it, you know? It's like, and that's the thing, is like, even killing Kulan Gath doesn't kill Kulan Gath. And it's like, everyone knows that, you know? Shouldn't
Doom or Kang, between one of them, shouldn't they have been like, yeah, we can go back and kill him? No, we have to. No, we literally can't. If we do, we will create an alternate timeline that will not affect our future.
Well, what they're literally doing, and this is something that was brilliantly done in the Loki series during the Fear Itself reign storyline, where Loki, when he created the avatar of the Hela's handmaiden,
mm-hmm.
and sent her back in time to nurse the serpent after he was just beaten up by frost giants, and to create tenderness within him. And that was this idea, is that if you go back in time and you leave the monster there, but you imbue in them some sense of goodness or compassion or nobility, then maybe they become easier to defeat later. And I do think that is what Conan is trying to do here with young Cullen Goth, and also just showing how awful the world once was, and how not quite so different it may be today. But I guess we're getting a Christmas episode because it's Conan on a horse in New York City. I love my modern Conan. He should wear pants. I know he's a Sumerian, and we don't feel cold, but doesn't mean that you have to be cold. Now, I enjoyed it. It was a good cap to the entire Cullen Garth arc, and now I just want to see what they do next, because honestly, Conan in the 21st century, I love it. It is just such a great concept to me.
Oh, yeah. I
am happy to enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. If I had my choice, I'd rather read Conan in the modern age than, in the Hyborian age.
Yeah, because, the Hyborian age is neat, and it's fun. And I like D&D stories as much as anyone, but, unless you're going to have an established lore, it doesn't, you need world building.
I mean, he's basically Steve Rogers, but to, an infinitely bigger degree. It's like, oh yeah, couple decades, that's cute.
Yeah, but but also, well, what's neat? Well, he is like Steve Rogers in the sense that he is insanely adaptable.
Yeah,
and he's like, okay, this is where I'm at. I'm not going to worry about what has come before. Now I have to figure out how to deal with this world.
But I'm just saying, Steve Rogers is only a couple decades at a time. Steve Rogers knows what indoor plumbing is, and yeah.
Well, at this, I mean, it used to be a lot less impressive as it is now. He went from, it's pretty, it's notable that there's only 66 years between the first powered flight in Kitty Hawk and landing on the moon. But if you were 67 years out and then we're on the moon, that's a lot more impressive.
Oh yeah.
And things have sort of exponentially increased since then. So no matter where you stop, the longer you're out, the more impressive the world is. I mean, I think the main advantage to Conan is that he's from a world of magic.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I know what magic is. Yes. I see your magical screen. Yes, I've seen those before. That's called a magic scrying screen. You have a lot of them here. That's fine. Doesn't really faze me. I've seen magic before. I have fought many wizards. Didn't know you were all wizards in this world, but that's fine. Here's the book, Defenders number 4.
Ooh.
This is neat. And again, speaking of weird books, and maybe I'm just buying all the weird books. And honestly, as I look at all my books, I'm thinking, yeah, I like weird books. So, in this one we have Cloud. Oh man, Cloud. There's so much going on here. Basically, they're in the 5th universe or the 4th. Yeah, I think it's the 4th. Yeah, they're in the 4th universe technically, and basically everything in this universe is archetypes. And so you have all these characters that we're going to see, and they're like, oh yeah, that's the Hulk archetype, and that's the Captain America archetype, and there's the one who is 4 and the 4 who is 1. You see what we're doing there? You see? Because these are 4, and they're 1, and this is 1 who's 4. Like that thing with Cosmic and Gamma. And you remember, Phil, you read those books too.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's all archetypes. And, it's fun and interesting and delightful. And I actually even realized that, yes, they even put the Hulk character in an invisible force field. Because that's what they're doing. And, and the whole premise of this is that Zota, who's a guy from the future, has gone back to the previous universes trying to, I guess, control reality as it exists. And this is the universe that is of abstract concepts. There's only, it's hard to describe, and it's hard to explain. And of course, in the universe of abstract concepts, of course, Cloud merges their female and male selves into a single unified being for the first time to be who they are, which is cool. And chooses to stay behind in this universe, even as Zota chooses to go into the third universe to be followed by the Defenders. And they will meet again as reality continues to deconstruct as you go further and further back. I'm excited about it. It's got this very neat art style that definitely invokes the idea of, color dot printing methods of pulp magazines. And, of course, in the third universe, it's just the two primal forces fighting. And we're going to see where that leads to next. But,
yeah, the whole series sounds interesting. I keep meaning to sit down and read it, and I haven't had the time, so maybe over...
Yeah, here's what I'll say. It's fun, and it's weird, but it's worth the read. Here's what I'll tell you. Everything I read, I won't say anything is, like, blockbuster good, although I might get to one that I do think is a way more than it necessarily... It's better than it could ever... It's better than it should be, and it's a good story to read. But we'll get to that in a minute. But none of my stories are bad. They're just unique and weird. And this to do one last Marvel for unique and weird. Did you read Amazing Spider-Man, Phil? I know you did.
Of course I did.
Yes. You want to walk us through this one?
I mean, basically, it's Ben and Miles encounter each other, and Beyond Corporation's like, Ben, you better tell that other Spider-Man in Brooklyn. He's not allowed to use the name, and and after a brief little slugfest, then it's like, I love how they skip a scene and it's like a couple minutes later, and Miles is like, oh yeah, I remember. It's kind of basically like, I remember you from Spider-Geddon. We met like for 2 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, although although honestly, again, this is one of those things where it's like literally the firemen are there because he shows up after the monster's gone. They're like, are you here to help us find all this stuff we lost?
I know.
Yeah, it just again shows you the powerlessness of superheroes, and how they're just fighting for no good reason. And everything about this just seems like, in fact, like right here. So, for example, in this, I've got little patience for imposters, and then immediately Ben jumps up and says, "Don't call me that!" And it's like, "You're dangerous!" And it's like, what the heck, dudes? Has no one heard of shawarma in this universe? It's like I don't know who you are, man, but maybe we should sit and talk and have some shawarma and figure out what's the best way to deal with this stuff.
Well, and two, like, Beyond, they're saying, supposedly they're giving Ben these treatments. I wonder if they're, like, doing something to his head or even just, like, hypnosis, something where it's just, like, maybe they're pushing him a little.
I don't know. Although we do get, like, references in this to Doc Ock later.
Oh, yeah, at the last page, yeah, because they say, yeah, he's definitely digging into the Beyond Corporation, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Hey, man, they brought up all his patents and stuff, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But they fight the bad guy, and of course, when they actually defeat the bad guy, he's just some dude. Just a dude in a super suit.
Because Miles thinks it might have something to do with the Assessor, because this is the start of the arc, Saladin, the man who wrote this issue, is the guy who writes Miles' book. So, yeah. So that, of course, we're going to get, all of Miles'. Yeah. And again, Miles Morales came out this week, and it says it's a Beyond Cross, like, tie-in. But basically all it is in the beginning, he's talking to Gank, and he basically summarizes this issue for Gank. That's the extent of the tie-in.
Well, but I think that's going to be... That'll be useful for later.
Yes.
It's like, if you weren't reading both, that would be helpful.
Yes.
Because we do see that they have the sample there of the goop.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just talk real quick about what I do say is my favorite book this week, which is it came out last week. 1-Star Squadron.
Yes.
DC #1, and dang, I mean, it is a powerful book, and it's about heroes for you. And it is about essentially, honestly, I'm not quite sure what it is. I'm not quite sure what they do. There's this guy in this hospital who apparently used to be a superhero. Man, I mean, here's what I'm going to tell you. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but it's like, it is just human drama. Think of Glenn Ross with superheroes. Or Death of a Salesman with superheroes. And this is, you know, you've got all these heroes that are in some way or another kind of feeling they're basically like D-list superheroes. And one of them is a guy by the name of Minuteman, whose powers apparently last for 1 minute. But like in 1 minute,
instead of Hour Man, okay.
Yeah, you know. But I'm wondering if it's like one of these things. Is like, yeah, I have infinite power for 1 minute. For 1 minute, I'm the fastest man alive. I'm this, I'm that, or the other. But just for 1 minute, which could be insanely powerful, but also, you know, you need to use it wisely. Power Girl is in this.
Yes.
In the white jumpsuit here. And, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. We got a little Max Lord callback in this.
Oh, yeah. They've been bringing him. They brought him back a little bit in Wonder Woman not too long ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's sort of like it's all about all these heroes who questioned why they became heroes and all this kind of stuff. And you know, Red Tornado, he is trying to get gangbuster help because he's clearly very punch drunk after a life of, you know, getting hit in the head. Because his whole thing was he had an iron jaw. He didn't have a glass jaw. He had an iron jaw, which is you couldn't knock him out, but he's still getting hit every time you hit him in the head. And you realize at the end, you know, Red Tornado's just trying to find out where, like, people who know who he is, and you find out that like, he spoke to what appears to be like his ex, but she like denies knowing him because obviously he is suffering from severe bursts of rage due to traumatic brain injury, which again, human level heroes, you have to imagine that's a real problem. And then you have the big last scene reveal of Power Girl talking to the board of directors of Heroes for You. And no one jumps out as being like obviously a villain, although they all look somewhat evil. But then again, they're a board of directors meeting at night, so, you know, could just be the aesthetics of the scene. But Power Girl's like, yeah, I think I need to replace Red Tornado as the head of Heroes for You. So it is a really good book. I'm putting it on my pull list. You can call it 1-star Squadron. I'm calling it 5-star Squadron.
Ooh, nice.
Or if I want to be French, I'll say 3-star Squadron, because 3 stars is the best.
I was thinking about picking that up. I might have to give that a look. Yeah. Yeah,
give issue 1 a look. If it's for you, you'll know it. It's like, oh man, that is dark and gritty, but good. It's not like dark and violent and kill people. It's like, no, it's actually like, oh wow, that's a real story of human beings and what it might be like to be a superhero in this world, especially if you aren't Superman or Batman. Do you have any of the books you want to talk about this week?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, my last one this week is My Bad. My Bad number 2. This is my indie book of the week. Here we go. Oh, that's just the same cover. It looks like a wraparound cover, but it's just a duplicate cover. So for those who don't remember, the Chandelier, who's our dark and gritty Batman here in Gravel City, thinks that Emperor King knows his secret identity, and he's trying to track someone down to find out if he does. It goes poorly, as you might imagine. Because it's basically, you know, he's a somewhat incompetent Batman. And then you do have Emperor King at his meeting with his lawyer weeks ago when he runs into the Chandelier, which is, of course, our Batman pastiche. And now you're wondering, does Emperor King know? Or does he not know? It's very confusing, and we're not sure where it goes. And then we get to the worst candy, which is the follow-up from last week's episode of, I forget his name now, Rush Hour being accidentally trapped by Emperor King. Because he's trying to catch the Accelerator, who's their Superman Flash pastiche, who owns a chain of fried chicken restaurants. And he's like, well, the first trap actually is harmless to humans. It's a poisonous gas. Basically, it's kryptonite gas to kill Superman, but it's harmless for this poor guy. But of course, the guy likes circus peanuts, and that's why that was what was in the trap. But then, of course, the second trap, which unfortunately Emperor King cannot undo the traps because he doesn't want to be hypnotized, is fire. So we'll see if we get an episode 3 in a month. I do like My Bad. It's weird. It is very weird. It's very weird. I don't feel it's judgmental of comic books and IPs as an idea, even as it parodies the idea of, like, hey, what if this was just brand new marketable IP? This is by Ahoy Comics. They've got a few weird books out there. I actually do like a lot of Ahoy Comics, so that's my recommendation for this week. I got 2 more indies I haven't read, man. World of Darkness, 3 weeks going. I haven't read it. And, of course, Star Trek Mirror War Data. Trying hard to catch up on these, though. But we'll have to see if I catch up for them by our next episode. All right, Phil, any last thoughts for tonight's episode?
No. I think we're good.
Okay, so then, Phil Podcast Perich. People are desperate to talk to us. Give us their ideas, their moral dilemmas that they would like solved. How can they do that, Phil? And how could they possibly give us money, too?
Oh, well, if you want to talk to the exclusive Capes and Lunatics, you can always email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And if you want to join the exclusive club, I can follow all the social medias, Facebook groups, the YouTube channel, most importantly, the Patreon, because yes, once again, we are paying for this on our own. So if you want to get those exclusive episodes that only a special few get, yes, subscribe to the Patreon, or you can buy merch. Everything is at Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics.
Are there special advantages you get by being a Patreon supporter?
Yeah, you get special episodes, interviews. We're going to be having movie reviews coming up. One of our patrons is going to join us for our Spider-Man No Way Home reviews. So yeah, so subscribe. Maybe you can join us for a chat one day.
Yes. Are there topless movie reviews?
Oh, yes, that's true. Yes, one of our members doesn't get topless, so...
Yeah, I'm just saying, the R-rated movie reviews, I think, are really the selling point for the Patreon, and I think...
And 2022 is going to be the brackets where we pit 2 movies against each other, Charlie.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm going to tell you something about the brackets. Here's the thing.
Yes.
We all know of the worst superhero films ever, but, when you get down to that final 4, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, that's awful. That is awful. We all have our favorites, but man, what is that final 4? What is that final 2? What is that battle looking like? And you want to say Fantastic versus Inhumans, but then someone's going to pull, a steal out of somewhere, and it's like, I can't say because I've never watched it, so I don't know if it is so bad that it just should not have been watched at all. I don't know where we're at. I don't know how the Spawn films really rank. I know they're bad, but because I haven't watched them, are they even worse than Inhumans and Fantastic? Honestly, I think that just that alone is worth the price of admission to find out that to not only have that idea there, but even be able to participate in the conversation. So join our Patreon, kids. You can join us for as little as $1 a month, and we really appreciate it.
Oh, yes, definitely. But yes, everything is, yeah, like I said, did I say Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics.
And hey, buy a t-shirt.
Yes.
Meanwhile, moving right along, it was on my Christmas list. We'll see if my wife actually got around to it or not. Because we do have extra fat guy sizes. Just saying. Meanwhile, if you'd like to write to me in that old-fashioned email way, there are mothers and fathers who said do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet things when I feel like it, which right now there's not a lot of new shows out, but when they come back, I'll be live tweeting them, Stargirl, and other things when I feel like it, at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz. And that was at Charlie Esser, in case I left that off. All right, kids and kittens and cats and dogs and all of those who live together, thank you for joining us one more time here on Superconnectivity. I hope you come back again next week and every week after to Superconnect with us again. Good night.
Good night.
That was fun.
Oh, yeah.
Always is. Tomorrow, we talked Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
With the hyphen.
Respect the hyphen.
And as they said, you're amazing.
Hi, I'm one of the High Priests of Khonshu Ray, and I have the sacred privilege of providing you, the loony listener, with a podcast honouring Marvel's very own Moon Knight. So join me and a host of others at Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, or support the show by becoming a Patreon member. Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast. It's time to get your Khonshu on.